Good evening, everyone. We're about to start a session that I am incredibly excited about. It's called The Science and Secrets of Anti-Aging, a Journey to Youthful Living, which is so relevant in our times when perhaps what we think is aging might not necessarily be aging at all. So we have with us, to start the session, I'd like to call upon Dr. Upasana Arora. She is the MD and CEO of Yashoda Medicity, to give her opening remarks.
Good evening, everyone. This topic is going to be very, very interesting for all of you because everybody always want to look young, look energetic. So my doctors and my team is going to tell you how to do it. Rather, everyone is trying to do. Somebody is walking, somebody is running, somebody is taking good food, somebody is on dieting. But there has to be a mix of everything and there has to be balance for everything. So what I believe, you should not only take good diet, you should keep your mind also always full with good thoughts. Because good mind can create a good body. I think everybody knows if we are not happy someday, something has wrong gone in our family, or there is a fight with your friends or something like that. That day you don't feel like to work. Am I right? Yes, I just want to see how many people are listening to me and how many are not interested in taking only tea. So dear friends who are having tea, they can listen me with their tea also because it's related to everyone's life. I'm not talking about any rocket science. I'm just talking about everyone's day-to-day life. So we want that your healthy mind with your healthy body should go together, and then we can create a change in society. Why? Because, we are the one who are creating society, and society is going to make a nation, and nation will take you up. Swasth rahega India, tabhi to badhega India. So that is why we have chosen this topic today, and I am here, I am representing Yashoda Medicity, and we have group of hospitals. We are very lucky that today I am here in this conclave, which is my dream conclave. I am a regular visitor of this. And thanks to everyone who are here and listening to us. Thank you.
So I'd like to begin the discussion that we're going to have, and we have some incredible people with a lot of experience in this subject. If I could call upon stage Dr. Amit Sharma. He is the Senior Consultant, Orthopedics, Joint Replacement, and Arthroscopy. He is also a sports medicine expert. Could I also call on stage Dr. Sunil Dagar? He is the CEO of Yashoda Medicity and a fitness enthusiast and marathoner himself. And we're also joined by Dr. Gagan Saini, a senior radiation oncologist. And lastly, I'd like to call upon stage Gul Panag. She is an actor, entrepreneur, and a wellness advocate. I think we should applaud for everyone now. Thank you. Peter Pan, the boy who wouldn't grow up. I remember reading this story when I was 9 years old, and I was captivated. What an incredible idea, because I didn't want to grow up. Grown-ups complained all the time. They took perfectly sweet cold drinks and mixed bitter things in it and called it smooth. They wouldn't play games with me, and they didn't think it was fun to paint my brother's eyelids with nail polish. So I didn't want to grow up. And I tried. Yeah, I tried really hard not to grow up. I do the WHO recommended 30 to 45 minutes of light to moderate intensity exercise for the stipulated number of days a week. I try to think positive. I do everything I can to navigate my way through the jungle that is the anti-aging cosmetic market. So I no longer need 19 creams to be young. I just need 9. And I thought I succeeded till a young lady came up to me a couple of months ago and said, "Hey, you don't look 40. I said, "Well, because I'm not 40. So clearly, Peter knew something that I have missed out on. And I believe that this discussion with all our guests and their knowledge is going to help me and you discover the true philosophy for youthful living. So I'd like to start with Dr. Dagar. If you were a fitness marathoner yourself, before we get to what to do to stay young, can you tell me a little bit about the biology of aging? Because our perception of aging is wrinkles and what's happening on the surface. What happens on a cellular level?
See, what happens, as she just introduced me as a marathon runner, I was not a, sports guy even during my college days in medical school. I think I started it just in 2017. And ever since I started it, it has become an eternal part of my life, my routine. And it is something now, if I don't do it, it disturbs me a lot. It disturbs my whole routine, my whole day, my sleep patterns, everything gets deranged if I don't do. So as she just asked me that what is actually aging at a cellular level, we just see ourselves, or everybody would have seen people around, they don't match the age, or they don't look as old as their age would be. So this is something which is the physical appearance which gives us that perception. However, the most important or the more important thing would be at the cellular level, which is happening inside your body. Mm-hmm. And that has to be understood by everyone. Even before you get into such a physical activity as I am doing, you need to understand your body, how your body behaves. You need to go for some testing. You need to go and evaluate yourself through certain parameters of your physiology, in terms going for some blood test, tests like treadmill or certain other things, ECG and all, so that you understand yourself how old is your body now. Yeah. And then you can prepare yourself, you can go out and actually get into such physical activities on day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Dr. Sharma, our cells need fuel. We know that. Yep. How do we make those right choices for fuel for our cells, which will not hasten aging, but, sort of keep us youthful for longer?
So I will answer this question as a professional. We are not influencers. We are professional people who will talk professionally about it. By definition, what is longevity? Longevity is willfully decreasing the decaying of 35 trillion cells of our body. That is longevity. And we cannot leave one organ behind. Suppose we are taking heart with us, we cannot leave liver behind. We are taking liver, we cannot leave kidney behind. So what has happened over the period of years, that anti-aging concept has come up very well. And research has been done very extensively into it, very, very extensively. So what has been done? There are biological markers. These markers are taken for a particular age. Suppose you are 50 years old and a biological marker is taken, and when the results come, if the biological marker says you are 60 years, that's bad news for you. If it says you are 40 years, that's good news for you. And researchers have gone a step ahead. What they have done? They have started pacing the aging. What pacing means? Every 2 years, they take the biological markers and then they tell you how you are aging. And very interesting concept has come up with this. What they did, they took up thousands of persons. One were on diet control, and diet control only 20% of the diet, and one was on full diet. And after 2 years, the aging process has slowed down by 20% in those who were on willful diet control. So one thing is very important, that exercise is only one very small tool for aging. It is the calorie restriction that will help you out in long term.
You know, I hear you, and I know very well that sugar, particularly too much of blood sugar, is not good for, the aging of our cells. But then I hear about the viral Dubai Kunafa chocolate monster milkshake, and I can't help myself, So can we talk a little bit about motivation and how do you make those right choices for your well-being? And I would like to ask Gulpanag to step in here and talk a little bit about this. But what's the mindset for wellness and health?
Okay, that's a complex one, and it's layered and loaded. So let me peel it up layer by layer.
Milkshake, layered and loaded.
I think discipline is what's needed when we run out of motivation. Every now and then we're going to be motivated, but there will be days you're not motivated, and that's when discipline comes in. Whether it's to eat right, as Dr. Sharma just said, or as Dr. Dagar said, to follow a fitness regimen. There has to be discipline. And wellness is a very large umbrella which encompasses what we eat, how we keep our body physically fit, how we practice preventive healthcare by making sure we are getting ourselves tested regularly, and last but not least, what our mental health is like. And I feel if we start out young, it's likely to stay with us longer. Not everyone is as fortunate as Dr. Dagar to pick something up 7 years ago and stay with it. I've been doing this since I was 15. I'm 46 now. And I think for me, my father pushed me into a fitness regimen. And he said, everyday exercise is non-negotiable. And I'm so grateful he did that. Of course, at the time, I didn't like him very much for it. Other kids were chilling, doing whatever they wanted to do, but I had to go for a 3-kilometer run every day and do some basic exercises. Along with that, I also, there was healthy eating practice at home. And we were, at a very young age, told to identify, or taught to identify, the difference between nutrition and indulgence. So that milkshake that you're talking about is indulgence, and I'm happy to indulge every now and then. But I usually put myself through a very quick filter before I put anything into my mouth. Is this good for me? Is this going to give me nutrition? Is it going to help my longevity goals? And that's where the discipline then comes from. Because one really has to be committed to one's goals. Otherwise, then they're dreams. I want to be like this, but I'm not willing to put in the hard work. Or I'll put in the hard work on days I'm motivated. So motivation is great, but we need discipline.
Yeah. No, that makes so much of sense. Thank you for sharing that. I think also sometimes having pragmatism or knowing the reason for doing what you're doing also helps. So recently my colleague Bandeep Singh had a lovely exhibition on the Naga sadhus. And there was one photograph of a sadhu in a yoga asana. And I looked at it and I said, oh gosh, we're the same species. I can't do that. And I started reading a little bit more about flexibility, agility, movement. And I realized there is a role, a very, very key role it plays in staying young and youthful. Dr. Sharma, could you explain a little bit more about why exercise is so important for us, why we were born to move and possibly not be sitting all the time?
See, exercise has to be an integral part of our life because exercise generates oxygen. And whenever you see a person who is exercising, his or her face is flushed. The oxygen is into all the cells, and that takes back all the aging. And once you are into exercise, you start cutting down on everything, Suppose I am running 5 kilometers in the morning, I would not touch a desert at night because whole of my exercise will be gone. And slowly it's into my system. Just like brushing my teeth, it's running. If I do not run 4 times a day, I don't feel good. And you should have motivated friends. For me, Dr. Dagar is here. He pushed me into marathons. I used to think running on road by paying money, what fun. But I used to be into other sports. So a peer group which is pushing each other, sparring partners are very important. Very important. Because exercise then builds your schedule for the day, for the month, and for the years.
So you said something to me before we started this session on dynamic and static exercise, which turns out I'm doing it all wrong. So could you please share it? Maybe someone else is also making the same mistake.
This what I'm speaking is because of my knowledge in sports and exercise medicine and a diploma that I have done from UK. There are two parts of exercise. One is dynamic and one is static. Dynamic is running, jogging, swimming are dynamics, where muscles are not contracted. What is static? Pushing weights in the gym, going for a golf shot. These all are static exercises. What happens in dynamic exercise? The blood flow is against the muscles which are not contracted and the heart is not pressurized. But what happens in static? When you are pushing a weight, the blood is flowing against contracted muscles. And then the heart might feel the load. So you have heard of sudden cardiac deaths that happen, but normally they are not that subtle and sudden. They give some indications which one has to catch. You cannot do running and then just get out of the treadmill and go for weights. Normally, as per physiology, as per research, dynamic and static should be kept on different times and different time frames. What happens? We have less time, we run for 1 hour and then we start doing weight. But no, it has to be on different days. So dynamic and static has to be on a different page.
I'm sure that would help a lot of people. Dr. Dagar, I'd come back to you. I'm very curious to know how you started. Because someone tells me to get fit, I would go to a gym and then drop out pretty soon. But how did you start, and did you get guidance, and is that important?
Yeah, it's very well said and very well asked. As he said that it's all about the peer group. You have the people around you. So it's in 2017 it started that ways only, that I had some friends of mine, some doctors, those who were already engaged in running through a regular running group in our vicinity. That's how I got engaged, and it's all about how you start. And it's obviously you get some guidance through your people around you who actually motivates you to get into this fitness activity. And this running was something which was actually, it fascinated me because it was not requiring any kind of a place where I need to go every day, get ready for it and things like that. It was just wearing my gears and you are on the road and you are doing the running. So first thing that you have to, as he said, that you have to understand your body. You need to go for some markers as required as with respect to your age. This is one important thing which needs to be done. After that, then you have to start with a moderate regime wherein you start with walking and running. Maybe a 2-minute running and then a minute of walking, and gradually increasing this pattern wherein you engage more of running and decreasing the walk from that regime and taking it forward. And once you then, you learn it and you increase, maybe you start with 3 kilometers, then you start to move into 5, then 10. And then 10 is something which, for regular runners, 10 kilometers is something which is a regular regime, maybe 4 to 5 days in a week. And then you get into a phase where you become a regular half marathon or full marathon runner. But at the same time, you need to engage yourself into strengthening and mobility exercises at least twice or thrice in a week as possible. And this cannot be, once you get into it, this cannot be an excuse for yourself as well with respect to your regular official schedule or something. All those, skip ropes which we take always in our hand and then we try to escape from the regime.
something I love doing is looking at fitness influencers. I can't help it. They make it look amazing. I wish I could reap the benefits just by seeing them on their camping roads and their cycle rides. It's great, but I'm sure it's harder than what it looks. So I was hoping Gulpana could share a little bit about her outdoor excursions and how it helps her in her wellness goals.
While I love the outdoor excursions, I think I'm more inspired by people like Dr. Dagar, who, while having a full-time career, which is clearly very involving, still pursue a fitness regimen. No disrespect meant to an influencer. Some consider me as one. Because I think it's far more challenging to do everything and also pack in fitness into it. A lot of people who come up to me over the last many years have always said, but how do you find the time and how do you manage? You have a child, you work, you do so many things. And here's the thing, I read something some years ago, and 3 people really explained to me, not because I know them, but because we all know of them. President Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, and Condoleezza Rice. She was at the time Secretary of State. They took out time to exercise every single day. It was a Time magazine article on how some of the busiest people in the world, some of the most powerful people in the world, still see an adequate value add in allocating that time to exercise. Now, when you allocate time to exercise, or as I like to say, wellness now, it actually gives you 2x, 3x, even 4x in terms of enhanced productivity. I personally like to do a combination of strength, endurance, and flexibility. And I am guilty, Dr. Sharma, of sometimes doing, a short run and some strength, but I don't do a big run. I'll use my run to the gym, which is about a 2 or a 3K run, and then do some strength and maybe walk back if I feel I'm too tired. If I feel I can run and I haven't done legs, I'll probably run back. But I like the outdoors. For me, running is a great starter pack. It's like first principles, ab initio. When I've fallen off the wagon, which I do enough number of times, like right now I'm totally off the wagon, and my goal is to get through 1 week of 3K runs 4 days a week. That's all my goal. I'm not setting a very high goal. I'm not trying to go back to running a half marathon, which I was at, couple months back before I fell off the wagon. But being outdoors in good weather is greatly enhancing. It makes you feel better about yourself. It gives you time with yourself. Because when you're in the gym, you're essentially sharing that space with many other people. And what we typically miss in the kind of really busy lives we live is the time with ourselves, where we're not doing something for somebody or doing something that we've been asked to do. So for me, a great Kickstarter is just taking things 1 week at a time. And in that 1 week, saying, okay, you know what? It could be a 2K run. I mean, 3K is a number. I like 3 because 3 is my lucky number. I was born on the 3rd. But it's that 1 week. And I find that if I can get through with that week of consistency, I can take it to the 2nd week and then slowly start layering it with strength and flexibility. But being outdoors is really the key. Even when I'm in Bombay, because I shuttle between Bombay and NCR now, I would rather I live on the 8th floor. I would rather go up and down my building of 11 floors and do 100 flights, about 12 times, then go to a gym. Because I'm training both for resistance, because I'm going up and down stairs, and I'm sweating it out. And of course, God knows how much you sweat in Bombay, because it's all the time humid. So I'm flushed, I've got a facial, tick the longevity mark, and put in some cardio. I'd still rather do that than go on a Stairmaster in a gym. So outdoors over indoors, anytime for me.
You also mentioned about mental health and stress and, being happy. I saw one picture of yours with a husky on a campsite, and you looked happy, like really, really happy. Is there a connection between connecting with animals or plants that sort of helps relieve mental stress for you?
I think there's definitely something to be said. I can't speak as a medical professional, but there's something to be said for the kind of joy being in nature gives us. Just looking at flowers. I mean, today all of Delhi is filled with bougainvilleas blossoming away. And it's just beautiful. Petting a dog or a cat, if she chooses to come to you, I think it gives us joy. But I also think that happiness is an active decision. And it's a choice. You can choose to be upset, whiny, grumpy. Or you can choose to be grateful for where you are while not stopping yourself from working on the goals you want to achieve. So while not underscoring the love and the joy of being in nature, having a husky that I first thought was a wolf in the dark, stray into our campsite, or seeing gushing water, or being by the sea, all of these are, I think, are greatly, they do something. I think they release certain things. I don't know what the names of those hormones are that get released when you see them.
Dopamine.
Or serotonin. I don't want to say names that
Yes,
I don't really
serotonin,
understand.
you're right.
But I think really choosing to be happy is a choice. A choice we must actively make. Otherwise, we will just be victims of our circumstances. We'll be like, "Arey, aaj to ye ho gaya, kal phir ye ho gaya, kal usne ye bol diya, phir parson usne ye bol diya." Wo to hoga hi. There's always going to be curveballs. There's always going to be challenges. But we have to first actively make a decision that today I'm going to be happy. Today, no matter what the schedule is, I'm going to make time to exercise, make time for myself. And remember that a big workout is better than a small workout, but a small workout is definitely better than no workout. So make sure we work backwards with the allocated available time. Rather than say, आज तो time नहीं है, मैंने 1 घंटे का plan किया था, पर अब मेरे पास, my previous something got delayed, my child has pulled me somewhere. So now I won't do anything because I'm so rigidly tied to the idea that I'd made a plan to do a 1-hour workout. If that doesn't work, just do 10 minutes, but do it.
Yeah. You know, we just briefly touched upon serotonin, which is one of the neurotransmitters which keeps us happy. And I discovered that 95% of that is produced in your gut. And stress actually damages the bacteria, which is producing this very important hormone for us. So I was hoping Dr. Arora could share a little bit about, I mean, you are the MD and CEO of a big hospital. How do you manage stress?
First of all, I just want to talk about, because I can see lots of females are here to know about anti-aging. So they are not happy only with fitness. Like both the doctors are all the time talking about running and marathon. No female is interested. Only few, I think 10% must be interested for marathon. Everyone is more interested in how they should look young, 10 years or 20 years young. Am I right, please? Yeah. I know, I don't want to make this session only on marathon or boring talks. There has to be something, you know, tadakta, bhadakta, and something you should understand how my skin is glowing. So your skin can glow only. Yeah. Men are also very, very, you know, these days very much interested to look very young, very energetic. And how we can, as you talk about gut. Gut, we are used to say that gut is our second brain. So whenever you are not in positive mood, or if you are all the time surrounded with negative thoughts, you are going to get some problem in your gut. And IBS is a very common problem. Lots of people are having this irritable bowel syndromes. You know, and they think they have eaten something wrong. They were in a party, that paneer was not good, that chicken was not good. Things is not that. Your thoughts are half of the time, you are all the time thinking and worrying about your future. What will happen next time? My boss was very angry. My job is not secure. My wife is all the time annoying with me. Mr. Arora is also very, you know, all the time pareshan because his wife is also very angry young woman. I am calling myself young because I feel I am young. So how I manage, because I always try to get some goal in front of me. Those who are working with me, like Dr. Sharma, Dr. Dagar, Dr. Gagan, they know it so well that I am always on my toes. So there should not be any time I should get for any negative thought. You should do positive work, always be happy. And then you will feel like when I was coming here, before that I visited 2 places for Women's Day to make them happy. You can feel happy only if you are making happiness in others' life. This is the basic funda of humanity. You have to give happiness to others, only then you can feel happy. And when we talk about anti-aging, there are lots of cosmetology available. Even we are running a cosmetic boutique, and these things are really helping. I am saying that if you will try, it is helping. But if you are not well from inside, if you are not well, you are sick, you are not feeling good, then all these, what we say, I am just forgetting name of that, क्या कहते हैं सुनील उसे? कौन सा चल रहा है आजकल facial? Hydrofacial. Hydrofacial will also not help you. Whatever facial you will go, whatever laser you will done, but it is going to help only if you are eating right diet. And as my dear colleagues are telling, do some exercise. Exercise is really, very, very important. I am doing yoga from last 20 days. Don't go by my weight. Don't go by my weight, because weight is not the criteria of fitness. I work 12 hours in a day without feeling tired, because I always feel I can do it. So don't judge anybody with the weight. You can see lots of people who are very sick, who are very fit, but all the time you will find that they are lazy and they are feeling, I am not feeling well, I am not feeling go to the party, you go. So we should keep a good thought in our mind that is going to help you in your life. And when you are happy, you are successful, then kar lo duniya muट्ठी में. So everything is related to आपका मन ही आपका तन बनाएगा. And जब आप खूबसूरत होंगे ना, तो दुनिया आपकी होगी, जैसे सब लोग गुल बना के हैं.
We've talked a lot about preventive measures. I'd also like to touch upon curative measures. It's a little depressing, but a lot of diseases are now happening at a very young age, whether we look at fatty liver or diabetes or heart issues or cancer. And I recently met a 35-year-old metastatic cancer patient, which metastatic is, she's right at the end of the disease. And she said to me, and it really stayed with me, she said, I don't mind dying, but I wish I'd lived a full life. Can you please tell us why are diseases happening at a younger age? And from a curative point of view, what hope can hospitals give us?
Thank you for taking it to this direction. Depression and sadness are a part of life, we can never really be happy all the time. But yes, distress that comes with a diagnosis that is terminal is certainly very big. And perhaps, no matter what I say, no matter how much research happens, one really cannot handle it in a clinical manner. But yes, how hospitals can help a patient like that is by giving them hope. Now, you cannot give them hope of a full life as she wanted, but you can definitely give them hope of doing best as they can. So I guess life is all about putting your best foot forward and doing the best that you can. So if a doctor and the team is doing the best that they can, that I think makes a lot of difference. That sincerity is what makes patient allay anxiety. I think that is in a nutshell, yes.
I discovered sleep plays a very, very important role, not just in aging, but also in disease prevention. Could you explain more from a health perspective, why is sleep so important?
So sleep by itself, incidentally, I was talking to my daughter in the morning about the same thing. So you're not asking me a new question. So sleep by itself is divided into a few parts. In the first part, your mind just synchronizes. This is what you do in your lunch break. You just close your eyes for 2 minutes. You're not really sleeping, but you feel relaxed. That's the synchronizing part of sleep. And then you go deep, and then you come out and you dream. So these are the 3 parts of sleep that are very important. In the deep part of sleep, the healing hormones, they start playing in. The healing hormones of the body. Now, what the hell are these healing hormones? There is no one or two healing hormones. It is the entire biochemistry of the body which starts getting modulated and corrected when you're sleeping well. Whether it is relaxation of the muscles, whether it is oxygenation, whether it is, at the end of the day, beating oxidative stress in that manner. So sleeping is less understood than it should have been. I'll accept that. It's not like a fully understood topic. But to answer your question and your perspective, yes, sleep induces healing, and healing induces improvement in aging. So yes, it's a very important part of fighting the aging, yes.
I think all of us on the panel, me included sometimes, but we do exercise, and some of it might be outdoors. Pollution is something I'd just like to touch upon because it's so important, and we know it directly impacts how fast we age. How has pollution impacted all your lives, and what has sort of helped you deal with it? I think all of you can share it because we are all breathing the same air. And if there's anything final that you'd like to say as well, because we're nearing the end.
Obviously, particularly if we see in Delhi NCR, whenever, the month of November comes in, everybody gears up with mask. Everybody is thinking about now the smog will come. We will have some allergies. We will have some, precipitated asthma bouts and situations like that. Burning eyes, sore throat, nasal congestions, all these comes. And every year on year, this is increasing, this is accumulating. And this is actually, worrisome to all of us. And I think as an individual, if you ask me specifically, even during these days when we have such a bad air, there are certain things which can be done at a very, which can be a very common practice, routine practice, which can be done to, keep yourself fit, even this pollution is happening all around.
So pollution is the main problem, especially in Delhi. If we talk about Delhi, that is more polluted than any other city in India also. And if you see, it is responsibility not only of government, this is our responsibility as a citizen. That is why we have made our hospital as a green hospital that is going to be LEED certified, and this is going to be second hospital in India who is LEED certified. And what is green hospital? We are trying to save energy, we are trying to save water, and we are trying to save those kind of gases who are going to pollute our environment. And everybody is suffering, even females who are here for anti-aging, they can tell us when in night we are removing our makeup, there are lots of black color, that is pollution. Am I right? So these things are actually going to, day by day, going to worsen, but luckily this time government has an agenda of pollution in their top list. And I think this is going to solve very soon. But same time, if we are suffering from pollution, so we should keep our kids at least safe. They should not go out in open areas, because first time when I was not feeling well was then when I was sitting in Lodhi garden and I was doing pranayam, and I was feeling like that I am doing very good pranayam. After that, I find there is a chest pain. Then I realized, and I have talked to my doctor, there is some problem. He said, why you were outside doing pranayam? Today is the worst day, pollution. So pollution is affecting our lungs, heart, every place of our body, because then our body parts are not getting enough oxygen. But to resolve that problem, we all who are sitting here and who all are, everybody has to plant one, at least take some responsibility, and we should not all the time use our ACs, which are generating lots of problem. We can switch off our fans, lights, so we are supposed to do. We all the time talking about things that government has to do. Everything government cannot do, we are supposed to help them. एक अकेला थक जाएगा, मिलकर बोझ उठाना, साथ ही हाथ बढ़ाना.
you.
There are modifiable and non-modifiable factors. Modifiable factors are the ones that we can stay indoors, we can do all exercise indoors. Non-modifiable is you cannot change the atmosphere. But at least we can increase our lung capacity or do not damage it. Number one culprit for aging is smoking. Smoking has to be stopped. Sorry. And this goes for both the groups. Secondly, everyone should build up the lung muscles. Because in COVID we have realized how important lung is. It cannot be replaced. It cannot be regenerated. Once it's gone, it is gone. So, atmosphere we cannot change all of a sudden. But at least take care of your lungs. Do not do things that will damage to lungs, and at least increase the capacity of the lungs by doing all the things that yoga teaches us, and everything is there out there.
Pollution is a reality of the modern age. I remember reading an article in the Indiatoday magazine a couple of years ago, and the average AQI, the months of November, December, January notwithstanding, pretty much across all metros was broadly the same. Shockingly, the fact that Bombay, despite Mumbai, despite being the recipient of sea breeze, was still pretty much in the same average AQI as Delhi. So the present air quality that we live in is what we are here with. What we can do about it is perhaps the topic of another session. What I do know is that on the third day of the lockdown, I have an AQI meter. It's an egg-shaped one. I picked it up somewhere when I was traveling. The vehicles not being on the road, construction having halted, Mumbai AQI in Versova was 13. So it is possible, but let's see how, what kind of will is required, not just from the government, but the kind of accountability that we as citizens demand from the government. As Upasana ji said, we can't just leave it to the government कि government कुछ करेगी. हम उनसे करवाने को तैयार हैं. क्या हम उन्हें accountable बनाने को तैयार हैं? वो onus हम पर है. As for me, I have a thumb rule. I check AQI and temperature before I step out. It allows me to see how much water to carry, whether I'll be out, and whether or not I should be in a hyperventilating environment. I'm not going to go for a run if it's 180 or above. I'll try and see. Some days are lucky. I mean, we have good days. I'll try and keep my outdoor activities for days that the AQI is better. But yes, it's the world we live in, and if we want to change it, collective action is what's going to make it happen.
Thank you for sharing that. So,
Okay. So enough has been said. Everybody has been covering about air pollution. Living with air pollution is like hoping that you got a bullet and it heals. So it's a constantly damaging stressor to our body. So how to live with it? I would say that is not going to change much unless you have a possibility of having your air purifiers everywhere. So you cut your losses somewhere else, decrease your inflammation which comes from other sources, live a life that is anti-inflammatory, high intensity, intermittent. A lot has been said about workout, as Dr. Upasana said. We shouldn't talk about workout anymore, I guess. But yes, workout is definitely one thing. Having a diet which is less inflammatory, and that just means having a diet which spikes your insulin less, which throws in less of those difficult to metabolize things like palm oil and all the additives, and those basic things which a mother or grandmother almost always follows. So let's cut our losses on that point and hope for the best. I guess that's how I live.
Dr. Gagan, I would like to ask you, is pollution causing cancer also?
ma'am,
Yes. Pollution is a very important cause of
I'll just
cancer
repeat
today.
that. She asked, is pollution causing cancer?
Yes, pollution is a very important cause of cancer. Long back when, lung cancer is a very important cause of cancer. So long back, in economic times, I have a piece also on that. So when this thing started, that women started getting cancers, non-smokers started getting cancer. That's when this research was initiated, and it was found that there was increase in cancer, one, due to the hydrocarbons, the diesel gensets and the generators, and those things were causing increased cancers. And also now it is being increasingly understood, and everybody in the crowd understands it's the PM 2.5, which, why it causes cancer is because the PM 2.5, once we breathe in, it is like a natural molecule of the body, and it just goes into the body. Nothing can stop it. There is no filtration which can stop it. Once it's inside my bronchus, it's inside my blood, and it can do whatever it wants. So,
Yeah.
so that's probably in short about what is causing it. Of course, we can go on more.
Cancer and aging as well. We have a little bit of a crowd, and sometimes crowds have questions. So does anyone have anything that they would like to ask? We have some time for questions. So, can somebody get a mic there?
मैं ये पूछना चाहूँगा आप लोगों से कि एंटी एजिंग जो फैसिलिटीज़ हैं वो इंडिया में या दिल्ली एनसीआर में कितना है और इसका कॉस्ट कितना है? Is it economic? Is it viable? Or, and does anti-aging help, anti-aging medical facilities, do they help in increasing the lifespan of a person?
See, there is a lifespan. Lifespan means the number of years you are living. And by God's grace, lifespan has doubled since 1940. 1940 lifespan was 35. Today it is 70. Then comes the health span. Health span is aging in a healthy way. That is health span. So, if we are looking for any fountain of youth which we can go and drink on and go on an anti-aging campaign, I am very sorry to say it is not there anywhere. People are trying to find it out. People are into it, but there is nothing like it. You cannot change your genes and you cannot change your age. You have to live in a healthy way with your age and with your genes. What has been seen, one who is pursuing a healthy lifestyle, who is eating healthy, who is a non-smoker, who is taking alcohol in low or no way, and who is mentally less stressed, he will live a longer life. So the magic pill as of today for anti-aging is this only. There are no 1, 2, 3, 4 treatments of anti-aging like we have for hypertension or diabetes. It will come out because see, many people are into it. But as of today, I do not know, there is nothing like a magic pill for anti-aging. It has a long journey.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, so my question is on intermittent fasting. I think the whole world is talking about intermittent fasting. So I want to know about your opinions, what you think. Is it beneficial, not beneficial, or the side effects, or the benefits?
So intermittent fasting is definitely beneficial. The world is talking about it precisely because of the fact that there are studies backing it and there are people practicing it and they are getting their benefits. Now, question is, what is the benefit that you're getting with intermittent fasting? This is where people have mistakes. They feel that intermittent fasting is a way to lose weight. It is a way to fast in a certain way that decreases your calories and therefore you can, lose weight. So that is where the confusion is. Intermittent fasting is a way to desensitize your cells to excessive insulin, making them more sensitive to insulin eventually, and thereby changing the biochemistry of your body. Now, why that is important? It is important because frequent eating, frequent snacking eventually leads our cells into being very, very insulin resistant. And that leads to more and more insulin being released. And that is what leads to aging. It leads to further downstream signaling, IGF-1, etc. And it creates a situation where you're always hungry, always tired, and fat. So intermittent fasting cuts that cycle, puts a proverbial spanner in the works, and thereby decreases the insulin gradually makes the biochemistry better and better. That is the benefit of intermittent fasting, and that is how it is also anti-aging and anti-cancer. It does not cure cancer. Once somebody is having cancer, don't do intermittent fasting. It's a lifestyle thing which can eventually decrease cancers.
I think we have time for one more question if anyone has one.
Sure.
So I have a follow-up question to that. So how many hours of fasting would you recommend? Because people are doing 14 hours, 16 hours, 12 hours, or there is people, what they are doing is they are just eating within the 4-hour span. So what is the right way of doing that fasting?
I don't think, a simple panel discussion should answer this kind of a question. This is a very serious question. I think the right way to answer this is do your best. Do your best. Do even 12-12. That is fine. At least at the end of the day, you are depriving your body of hyperstimulation by food to some extent, and then maybe you can increase it to some extent. But the real trick after intermittent fasting is to eventually shift to a healthy eating lifestyle, and that is what will sustain the benefit.
Right. I think Sir had one question.
Hello. I want one of you to answer length of the breath compared to the life. A dog breathes very fast. Life cycle 10, 12, 15 years. Tortoise, elephants, they live 80, 90 years. They take maybe one breath in 2-3 minutes. What is the breath of a human being in terms of minute for him to live long? Because I understand the length of the breath is very important to the lifestyle. Maybe some of you can answer that.
Okay, so I think we see it upside down. It's not about taking less number of breaths. It's about having a life so healthy that you need less number of breaths. So people who are having a very good body, a very good metabolism, these both runners maybe, and they will eventually start having lesser heartbeats, and they will also start breathing in a lesser and in a less deliberate manner, not hyperventilating. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing here. So long story short, this is what will cause health. But I think your question is also something else. You are asking about in the entire animal kingdom, how is the number of breaths correlating with the life? That's also one part or one aspect of your question. I answered the other aspect first because that is what is relevant to anti-aging as far as the humans in the room are concerned. Because we need to have a healthier life, eventually having a healthier body that will lead us to breathe in a healthy manner, heart beating in a healthy manner. But yes, it is seen that the larger the size is, the lesser are the beats, the longer the lifespan is. Maybe it is correlatable with the fact that lesser metabolism causes lesser cellular proliferation. You will be surprised, all of you will be surprised that actually blue whale doesn't get any cancers ever. This is a surprising thing to me as well. It is not taught in the curriculum of being an oncologist, by the way. It is, these are not the things we talk about. So blue whale doesn't get any cancers. So a lot of it is also about biology. A tortoise living for very long is not just about breathing, it's also about biology. So it's the way God made this world. Many things are acting in different places. Right. I hope I've answered your question.
I'm in a bit of a situation that...
Yes.
Oh, please, yes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Gagan, I will add one thing in the questions she has asked about intermittent fasting. Our body acts in a typical manner like a government servant from 9 to 5. So this is allowed only from 9 to 5. The more insulin is secreted between 9 to 5. There is something called chronobiology. Our body acts according to our circadian cycle. So once we get up, so the hormones are increased. By the day, in the evening, our cortisol level is low and other hormones are low and insulin level is also low. So by the time it is 5 o'clock, the insulin level is less. So when we stimulate the insulin, we increase the insulin, and this is the time we increase the insulin resistance. And this is the reason for more and more of obesity in India and other parts of the world. So 9 to 5 is the best time, And if we adopt this 9 to 5 and Jain Dharma ke hisab se, if you adopt that, then we'll not be falling so many sins.
So
Thank you,
let me introduce the person who made that answer. He's Dr. Vijay Arora. He's also a part of Yashoda Group. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. You know, I also have more questions, but our time is up. Fortunately, there is a book that has been written on aging. It's called The Science and Secrets of Anti-Aging, A Journey to Youthful Living. It's been written by the chairman of Yashoda Medicity, Dr. P.N. Arora. And we'll be launching the book right now, and I'd like to request him to come up on stage and say a few words. Thank you.
I think much has been said about fitness and good health. So, ultimate goal is happiness and as much as possible minimum diseases. So this book is coming up, it's just a cover page. So with all researches and all things that how to live long and happy. Thank you.
No. Here's the cover page. Congratulations, sir. Okay.
I would like to share this thing that this whole, our CMD sir is sitting in the audience, and in fact this whole concept of anti-aging subject is his brainchild, not none of ours. So big clap for him, I think. Thank you so much.
You know, I reread, is this on? I reread Peter Pan during the pandemic, and I realized one of the things that he had was joy. And unfortunately, my emotional health is linked to my social health, and I can't control that, try as I might. But I have learned that I can choose to be happy, like Gul said herself. If bad days do happen, and if they do happen, I don't have to binge on namkeen. I can go for my walk, and I can choose to engage my mind with positively educative experiences like this session at this conclave with all of you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone.